how to get out of your head, how to stop the obsessive thoughts, how to be comfortable in silence, how to work with your thoughts consciously so that you align them to your soul's truth is the topic of today's Soul Sovereignty and Sexuality podcast with myself, Jessica Falcon, international soul embodiment guide and relationship expert. Because in order to get into and align to your soul's truth, you have to know what you're thinking. And you can't know what you're thinking if you're not observing the thoughts. Now, something I heard somebody say this weekend was we're talking about meditation, sovereignty, soul embodiment. And he said, I can only do moving meditations because when I sit in meditation, I just have all of these thoughts that come through my head. And I know I'm supposed to get rid of them. So that's really hard for me. So it's better to just hike or bike and that be my meditation, which there's nothing wrong with. Those are absolutely forms of meditation as well. And what I encouraged him to do and why I'm recording this episode this week, because he's not alone, right? A lot of people experience that sensation of I am in silence and I want to relax, but my head it keeps talking and talking and I can't get out of it. Or I'm trying to connect with my body, but then my head keeps bringing me up and out, right? It's very common. I've heard that in retreats a lot, is when people say that that's their normal experience. And so then, right, we guide into the body, but we also have to learn how to be the observer of the thoughts and the controller of the thoughts rather than escaping them. Because if you are trying to avoid facing and being with the thoughts that you are having, they are likely controlling you and not the other way around. You want to be your own master. You want to master your thoughts, not have your thoughts master you. And likely, right, 80 to 90% of the population is letting their thoughts control them. That's not sovereignty. Sovereignty is you are your own master. Sovereignty is you control your thoughts. You decide what to think. And when your thoughts are not in alignment with divine love, when your thoughts are not in alignment with your soul's truth, then you change them, you transform them, you literally reprogram your mind. You have this capacity. You have the capacity to reprogram your mind. You are not slave to your mind. And when you are avoiding your mind and you are not the one controlling your mind, guess what? Somebody else is controlling your mind. Because thoughts come in usually based on an external situation, what you have been told, what you have seen, what you have witnessed. If you watch TV, if you listen to podcasts or the radio, then, or even if you read books, then all of those thoughts are coming into your head, right? And then they're there, they're an energy that you have ingested. And if you're not focusing just as much on what is your energy, your soul's truth, your inner world, and then aligning the thoughts to that truth, then you're going to be bound by them, controlled by them in some way, shape, or form. And so a couple of things here. One is in order to get out of your head, you have to actually get into your body, which we'll talk about. And two, how to befriend, how to be with these thoughts so that you become the master. The first is a little shorter, so I'll start with that one. I was at a retreat, teaching a retreat in January, and one of the women said that she just kept having the head try to take her up out of the body, and that it was really frustrating because she wanted to be in her body and she wanted to be meditating inside her body, which is what I teach, embodied meditation, but that her head was getting, quote, in the way. Now, sometimes you just have to let the thoughts run and keep your awareness and attention focused in the body. Sometimes that's just what you do because you're saying, I'm not feeding you any energy at all. And I'm just keeping my focus where I want to keep it, regardless of what you're doing, to try to distract me because I am staying focused, right? So sometimes That is the answer. Other times, particularly if you have ruminating thoughts or those thoughts feel charged with emotion, you can feel like an anger attached to them, a grief attached to them, frustration, irritation, resentment. Well, you can feel that emotional charge attached to thoughts. Or ruminating means they come in your mind often and they are regularly passing through your mind. Then I would suggest that you start to befriend them. But if you want to release the charge of your head being what's in control and most of your energy being up here in your head, you have to start directing your energy down into the body by doing something as simple as placing your feet on the floor and hitting them up and down on the floor, leaning your back into your chair, into the wall, even putting your hands on your legs, pressing down, rubbing parts of your body. You can shake, you can dance, you can go on a walk. I asked her, I said, so what do you do to get in your body? Do you work out? No. Okay. Do you have any sort of practice that brings you into your body? Do you meditate into your body? No. Do you walk? Yes, sometimes. Okay. And when you walk, are you walking in silence? No, I'm listening to something. Okay. So then if you're walking or you're working out and you still have input in your head, you're still listening to something, whether it be a podcast, music, whatever, you're not creating space, right, to observe your thoughts. And you're also then not really in your body because your energy is primarily concentrated in listening and hearing versus being focused on how does your body feel? What is your body doing? Are you moving from your body? That's a huge part of what I teach in my weekly online portal yoga classes, which you're invited to attend. If you'd like, you can join us, is how to move from the core, how to move from the body, because we are so conditioned to operate from the head. We're so conditioned to move the body from the head versus the body moving you, right? Now that's a practice to start letting the body move you and how you walk and how you lift your arms and how you move around the world versus the head moving the body, right? So just notice one little quick practice is that when you are walking, just doesn't have to be a long walk, right? Or out in nature, it could be just walking around the house. Notice what is first. Is your head first or your hips leading you? That's just one quick way to notice. Is your body leading you? Is your head leading you? When your head is dictating your movements, then you tend to walk head first, and it also tends to be a little faster. If all of your energy is concentrated in your head throughout the day, then your head is going to be more active and you're likely not going to be centered into your body. And so adding in these simple practices of pushing your hands into your legs, shaking, dancing, moving, breathing deeply into your belly, into your legs, into the soles of your feet, which you can do right now. It takes 1 second. Then you're going to be bringing the energy into the body, which is going to start to literally draw the energy out of your head. So it's not the primary active part of you. Where your energy goes, where your attention goes, your energy goes. And so if all of your attention is always in the head, reading something, listening to something, watching something, that's where your energy is going to be. And so you're going to feel like it then is in control, right? Versus you are in the body, pulling the energy down, magnetizing it down. And then guess where your heart is? In your body. So the more you get into the body, the easier it is for you to access and open the heart. So even heart practices throughout the day are really helpful. Placing your hands on your heart, breathing into your heart. You can set a timer, do it every hour, every 2 hours, so that you start to train yourself to be in your body throughout the day. Very important, because you are up in your head all the time, then you usually don't have the presence and the consciousness necessary to know what you are thinking, and then to align what you're thinking to your soul's truth. Sovereignty includes mental sovereignty. Mental sovereignty is that you are choosing what to think and aligning your thoughts to your soul's truth. And this requires, first, of course, that you know what you're thinking. And so if you're always trying to avoid your thoughts and not face them, they are in control. And you're not aligning your thoughts to your soul's truth. Thoughts are energy. Thoughts have their own frequency. And if your thoughts are a lower vibration, a lower frequency, rooted in fear, rooted in shame, rooted in unworthiness, right? Then you are going to feel a lower frequency. You are going to likely not feel good inside. You're not going to feel states of inner peace and calm and joy. Your thoughts carry this frequency. And as you increase your frequency for your heart, which is the largest electromagnetic field of your body, then you can also shift the frequency of your mind. I recommended this to somebody recently who struggles with, let's just say, difficult thought patterns, of attuning your heart to the frequency of love, creating that feeling of love in your heart. And the more you do this, the easier and easier it will get. I can feel it immediately, but I've been practicing for a very long time. And then you literally move that frequency of divine love up into your head, into the thought. One other simple practice. And if you're in silence, or if you're meditating, or if you're journaling, and you're like, I really don't like these thoughts. I wish my head would just stop thinking, right? Should I hear again a lot of times from people? I don't have that, right? Used to. I don't have that because I have befriended my thoughts and aligned them. When your head is going a million miles an hour, the most important thing you can do to stop this is to observe them with complete detachment. Complete detachment. You are not your thoughts. You are not what you think. When we attach the thought, when we make it ours, when we then identify with it, we give it extra energy, extra charge, versus I'm having a thought. Write it down on paper. See it as separate from you. When you're having a thought, you go, oh, there it is. You identify it. Maybe you write it down. You state it to yourself. And then you ask yourself, is there an emotional charge to this? Is there an emotion connected to this thought? And is this thought mine? Is this thought, where does this thought come from? Is this thought my soul's truth, right? You tune into the heart, you tune into your body, you tune into your unique frequency. Is this my truth? Is this what I want to be thinking? Is this thought helpful for me? Is this thought in alignment with divine love? Is this thought honoring my choice? Is this thought honoring me? And then as you ask these questions and you decide you don't want the thought, then you go into the body to access the emotion underneath the thought. You can even inquire as to your body as to what's the root of this thought? Where did I pick this thought up? This is for ruminating thoughts. You don't have to do this for every single thought, but for ruminating thoughts, for repetitive thoughts. Where did I pick this up? What's the story underneath this that I'm telling myself? And really start to identify the root belief, because all of our thoughts, we can trace back to the root belief. This is the type of work I do with my clients when we work together one-on-one and a private portal of transformation. This is also a lot of what you're guided to do, including energetic activations and embodiment practices and the Sacred Body Wisdom Foundational Series. And when you find that root belief, when you get to the root of that thought, usually you have an aha moment and you go, okay, so what is the new thought that is aligned with my soul's truth? What am I choosing to cultivate in my life? What am I choosing to create in my life? What am I choosing? What frequency of thought am I choosing to allow and to feed? I like to think of thoughts as seeds, and either we water them and let them sprout and grow into possibly physical manifestation or how we show up in the world, or We don't water them. We don't feed them. We don't give them sunlight. And then they die, right? So the amount of energy that you give a thought will determine how big that thought grows when you're not working with it consciously. When you are working with the thought consciously and you're giving it attention, you're transforming it. You're not necessarily allowing it to grow, right? Nothing is black and white. There's always different aspects and levels of everything in life. So if anybody tells you anything is black and white, turn the channel. Nothing is black and white. So you want to identify the root belief so that you can then reprogram your mind. If the old thought, for example, let's make this a little tangible. If the old thought is, no one wants to hear me. No one wants to hear me. Okay. So this might come up in various thought forms, like, well, it's not worth saying that thing. They don't care. Well, I might as well not even make that post. They don't care. Well, I might as well avoid that conversation with my partner or my parent because they don't want to hear me anyway, right? So it's this, the root belief that you have is nobody wants to hear me. And so you probably end up silencing yourself, avoiding conversations, right? Doing all of these things subconsciously that are rooted in that belief that might also be traveling through your head. And then you go into the emotional charge, you access that emotion. Let's say you do that work, you get to the root belief, you might even, like say when we're working together one-on-one, have a past life memory or understand the karma, you might really get to that energetic hold it's had on you across lifetimes, which we can access through the body, right? I've talked in other episodes about how we access past lives, how we do that deep soul work through the body. And then you say, okay, so what new thought is in alignment with my soul truth? Your soul truth is your divine truth. Your soul is your individuated divinity in form. What is my soul truth? Well, the frequency of the soul is divine love. And so that means the thought of your soul is going to be aligned to the frequency of divine love, not fear, right? Not shame, not doubt, not guilt, not unworthiness. And even though it may have been a true experience in the past, if you're carrying that forward and how you show up, you're just repeating that pattern. So the new thought might be, people want to hear me. It can be that simple. People want to hear me. People care about what I have to say. And then you identify whatever this new thought is that resonates most deeply with you based on your unique situation, your unique frequency. What most resonates with you. And then you can then, what is the emotion of that? And then you start to implant that emotion with that new thought. That's how you reprogram your conscious and subconscious mind. That's one of the ways that you can start to reprogram that, as you start to attune to the frequency that is your truth. People want to hear me. Oh, okay, that's that high heart energy. That's that more open energy, more receptive energy. I can open more of myself. I can reveal more of myself because people care. People want to hear me. I can have that conversation because I'm going into it thinking that this person wants to hear me, wants to listen to me, wants to receive me in that way, versus, dude, nobody wants to hear me, and so I'm not even going to say anything at all, or I'm going to go in defensive and guarded and right, feel that tension. This is how we change our reality, not because we're changing the other person, but because we are literally shifting the energy and frequency of our thoughts. We're literally shifting our emotional state, and we're tuning to the divine truth, which affects how we show up, right? So in last week, I talked about how do you reclaim your sovereignty. This is one of the ways. And it creates this new level of freedom. And so befriend your thoughts. I like to say, as if you're inviting them over for a cup of tea. Get to know them, spend time with them, look at them, trace them back to the root. So that you start implanting your head with the thoughts you want to keep, with the plants you want to grow. And pull out the weeds. Now, there's certain weeds you might want to keep because they're really good for you, right? But pull out the weeds that are not good for you. Pull out what is not serving you. Pull out what is old. Pull out the past. Pull out an old story. Pull out what is not your truth. Pull out those beliefs rooted in fear, so that you cultivate the garden that you really want to be in. So that when you are in silence, you're laying in your bed at night, staring at the ceiling, or you're just in nature looking at the sky, or you're on a walk. You can just be in your body. And when a thought comes through, you're like, oh, there it is. And you're not so scared of what you're thinking. You're not so scared of the silence, because you are the master of your own thoughts, and you are therefore then the master of your own life. This is a brief introduction to how you shift out of old thought patterns into the new, how you get out of your head. I hope it's helpful. I want to make an announcement. One is the Sacred Body Wisdom Foundational Series is available, which has 8 powerful activations and embodiment practices that connect you to your soul's truth. You anchor in, you embody your power, you reclaim your sovereignty. That's available at thepathtosovereignty.com. And I have 2 upcoming retreats this year. One new one, which I have not announced publicly yet, is the Holy Sensuality Retreat for women in Pennsylvania, June 20th through 22nd of this year. That's over the solstice weekend. You can go to thepathtosovereignty.com, and I'll put a link below as well if you are interested in joining us for that and learning more. And then the Sacred Feminine Power Retreat in Greece coming up September 27th through October 8th, where we're going to be literally accessing and drawing in the energies of these ancient temples, these archaeological sites into the bone, into the body, into the heart, and becoming a living temple of the goddess. You can go to thepathtosovereignty.com for that as well. Please like this video, comment, put your questions. I'd love to know what recurring thought you are focusing on shifting and mastering within your own mind, body field. And I will see you next week. Lots of love.